Alright, quick update and a CT speed chop answer session. I'm moving ahead on Project Street Scribbler. I did an initial wet sanding on the body now. I've removed the emblems from the front, the back, and then right up in here on each side. Did a little filling work with some styrene right in here on each side of the bumper. To kind of close that gap up a little bit. I've got a little bit of light filling to do and possibly some rescribing and whatnot. I just work on this in between stuff. Can only do so much sanding at a time. As far as for filler and stuff, I'm going to end up, by this point now, I'm just going to be using the Mr. Surfacer 500. You can brush it or airbrush it. Works really nice, sands really nice. A lot of ghosting going on. As you can see, this is just the first round with some 800 grit, and I haven't gotten everything yet, but you can see all the ghosting and stuff going on in this, so there's, you know, a little bit more to go. As you can remember from my other videos, I chopped it, tubbed it, built this rear section, did some framework. I've got the rear end in it now, pretty much the main part of it. I ended up putting real springs on the, let's see if I can get it turned the right way. You can see there's some, I ended up putting real springs in here and in the front, and adding some details, some plumbing to these shocks. I just redid the shocks because I lost one of them. And I've done a little bit of highlighting and some bolt head detail and stuff like that on it. I'm not going to go totally crazy on it. I've got the engine and transmission pretty well assembled and primed. I've got the drive shaft completed for it. I just have to figure out my exhaust, which is going to be one of my next steps. And then on to the interior, getting it primed and painted and all that. Maybe I'll do a little flocking or something. And that's about where I'm at on the Street Scribbler. As I mentioned, I'm going to be using, this is kind of a warm-up project for Street Scribbler 2, which is going to be more of an all-out build. So I wanted to practice with the tubbing, the chopping, seeing what kind of issues I'm going to run into with the body, sanding. I may cut the hood still, I don't know. And I'm going to be using as much of the photo etch as I can. It looks like I may end up going to get some these headlight buckets. You know, you've got those bezels. I may have to order the resin set. Somebody has a resin set. I got to figure out who, because let me find it. You know, I thought about chopping these off, but it's going to be messy. And then there's also two angles to these things. They're angled this way and this way. So even cutting tubing and getting all the right shapes and everything would be tricky. But anyway, I want to use as much of this photo etch as I can and get a lot of good practice in, because I've done just a little bit of photo etch, not a whole lot. And I need practice on that and make sure I got the right tools for it and stuff. And that's the update on the Project Street Scribbler. The other second part of the video is just going to be to answer some questions. I've been watching everybody's videos as much as I can. I try to stay caught up. I watch it on my television, so that's one of the reasons I don't really comment much, is because when I'm watching on TV I don't have access to my keyboard or whatever, or means of commenting. But I do watch a lot of videos. I try to keep up with everybody. I've got 600 something or whatever subscriptions I watch, you know, and then I'm adding more and more, and I'm finding more and more people I still ain't even subscribed to yet. But keep them coming, keep them coming. And thanks for commenting on my videos and everything, and I try to answer at least the questions that people post on the video. And I appreciate all the kudos, and that looks great, and stuff like that type, you know, comments. Of course, I always appreciate all that a lot. To answer CT Speed Shop's multiple questions that he's asked lately, going back to what music TV do you watch? Yeah, I watch TV and I listen to music when I'm modeling. Most of the time it's just generally easygoing type stuff, because you know, modeling is kind of a relaxing thing for me, so I don't really listen to any really hardcore or brash music. Mostly 60s, 70s, early stuff, not too heavy, just whatever's interesting, a little bit of everything. And TV, I watch, you know, movies sometimes, or videos, or science, history, TV shows, documentaries, old westerns, you know, something I can have on in the background that doesn't take too much of my attention away from the model. What do you do in your off time? Well, I posted about that. I have my music recording and all that stuff going on pretty much. Other than that, I try to get modeling time in. I get 2 days a week off, and then on the day I have off in the middle of the week, I usually do a lot of my stuff I got to do, you know, at home, and get all that caught up. With brushes, well, I did 3 videos on brushes. I think I did 3 of them, with plenty of opinion and all that kind of stuff, but I've pretty well nailed it down. I use the Model Master or Testers flats. They're premium ones, I call them, I think. And I use the Humbrels, the Coloro, pretty much exclusively for rounds. And of course I have just some old brushes for metallic paints and stuff that I've got marked. Some cheapies and old Testers, which has just been a workhorse of a brush. I've used this thing for years, and it's a synthetic Testers, old number 2 from the UK. And then I got some dry brushes and just general fool around brushes, but that's pretty much it. That's what I use, and that's all I really need for car models. I mean, I got some bigger ones for like future or decals or stuff like that. But pretty much for painting, this is it. In fact, I hardly even use that one, to be honest. And that one not too much, so it's really just like these 5 brushes. Get the most use all the time. I do have a tube here that's got 0, 5/0, and 10/0. These are the Atlas Red Fox brushes, and but these are really small, some of them. I mean, absolutely just tiny. And I really haven't found a use for that because, as I mentioned in one of my videos, like this number 1 here, it can make such a tiny point. It can do the most pinpoint dot, but it can also, the beauty of it is you can do like lines on a firewall, like wires and stuff. You can do it in one load. So it's very sharp point, but it holds a lot of paint. That's the key I found, at least for me. That's what really helped change my brush painting and improved it, is getting away from those tiny little brushes and finding brushes that hold a good point, which you got to kind of step up in quality. You can't have really long haired brushes, and you can't have brushes that don't hold a point. And I found that out just by trial and error and practice. I'll just throw in what clean. I use the Masters brush cleaner for final cleaning. I mean, depending on what paint I use and stuff, you know. I mean, I use for the Model Master acryls, I use the Testers Model Universal Thinner. Works great. For the enamels, like the little bottles and stuff, I use the Testers Enamel Thinner. And then I also use lacquer thinner when I need to for other stuff. And that's pretty much it, you know. And I use those also for cleaning, you know, and then a final cleaning with and the conditioning with the brush stuff. So that pretty well covers the brushes. Cans or airbrush, both, pretty much quite a bit. I use pretty much cans for the priming. I do airbrush primer sometimes, or the Mr. Surfacer, something like that. I get the little Model Master acryl primers, which this stuff goes on fantastic. It's a lot like the Tamiya can primer, and it's definitely not any more expensive when you figure out, you know, once you thin this down and spray it, it goes on so thin and light and sands so nice. This has actually turned out to be becoming one of my more favorite things, is this primer, airbrushing it. You got good control with it. I use the old workhorse Pasha H, which I think everybody should have this airbrush for 20-25 bucks, whatever. You can get them for like 25. And it's just, I use it for everything. The metallizers, I've painted whole cars with it. I mean, that had just beautiful finishes come out of this thing. It's unbelievable for how simple it is. And to be a siphon feed. But then my main airbrush, which I do a lot of more detailed stuff with, is the Badger Chrome. And it's got a couple different needle sizes and stuff like that. So I do have other airbrushes. I got a Badger, I've got a couple more Badgers, and I've got a Pasha VL. Used a Propel can, the old cheap Propel beginner can. I use that a lot. I got a video on that. I use it for just quick stuff, and it's so easy to clean and use. And how many takes do you usually do for a video? You can probably tell from mine, I do one, generally. I mean, if I make a mistake, a lot of times I'll just stop and then start talking again and then just edit it out. You'll see a lot of my videos, sometimes I screw up so much it's really choppy because I do a lot of you know, that kind of stuff, and it drives me crazy. But anyway, thanks for watching. Keep the videos coming. I do watch them as much as I can. Like I said, I watch them on my television a lot pretty much anymore, so I don't really have my laptop right in front of me every time and to post comments and whatnot, although I will sometimes. But I'm out there, and thanks for everybody for watching my stuff, and I'll talk to you soon.